still really focused on how do we take the 26 guys that we have in uniform tonight and go out and get a W. And that's going to be our mentality, and rinse and repeat on that. And other times of the year, the trade deadline being one of them, where you got to kind of zoom out and assess, all right, where are we at right now? What's our likelihood of being able to get to that deep October opportunity that we'd all love to have? We're going to get a lot of answers to that over the next month, because there is a finite deadline of when we need to make those decisions. But honestly, most of the focus right now is going towards how do we protect this team and put this team in a spot to be able to go 1-0 as often as possible.
There was a top 50 list that ESPN had put out, I think it was about a week ago, of the top 50 names that could get moved at the deadline. I believe the Diamondbacks accounted for 4 of the top 9 names on the list, right?
They did. It was remarkable as you click on a story like that and you're like, okay, let's see, who they've got.
You had to know it was going to be like that.
Oh, you knew
right?
it was going to be like that. There was was something like from Tim Kirkjian today I looked at, but it was ranking the trade candidates, and it came out on June 24th, and I looked at it, and I hadn't talked about it last week, but Suarez was 5, Zach Gallen 7, Merrill Kelly 8, Josh Naylor 9.
5 of the top 9, or 4 of the top 9.
4 of the top 9 guys. Or the other guys from other teams were Alex Bregman, Yoran Doran on the Red Sox, Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins, Freddie Peralta from Milwaukee, Seth Lugo from Kansas City. Those were the other guys that were mentioned, but a lot of Diamondbacks littering that page right there.
Yeah, Shelby Miller also made the list way down. He was like number 48 or 49 on the list as well, so that made 5 total Diamondbacks. He was 48 on the list. I'm looking at it again right now. And again, the whole, and that was Mike Fitzgerald, by the way, the assistant general manager of the Diamondbacks, the cut that I played when we were coming back, saying, for now we're still focused on who we got and taking care of business, and we'll worry about the trade deadline when the deadline comes. They asked him a question about how many calls a day are coming in right now about their players.
There's a decent amount of phone calls. I would say we're still focused on trying to run our own race for as much as I think those articles identify us as a fulcrum because there's uncertainty around which way we can go. But Hayes has said this publicly. He continues to say it privately. He means it. We don't get into these jobs to punt on opportunities to make an October run. So we get into these jobs because we want to put teams together to have a chance to go deep into October. And we've had a taste of that in recent years. And there's a high that comes from that you want to try to chase. And so if there's an opportunity to do that, that's what we want to do. We feel like we owe it to the fans. We owe it to the guys in our clubhouse now. We owe it to the people that show up here to work every day. So that's where the mindset's been. And yet we have other 29 teams that look at us and say, ooh, wait a minute, maybe they're in kind of the thick of it, and maybe they would take this as an opportunity to move some of their guys.
It's funny that Mike used the word fulcrum because that was the exact same word that was used in an article today on ESPN.com in which they wrote, one thing is clear, however, the Arizona Diamondbacks are the fulcrum of this deadline with the ability to make it a lot more interesting if they decide to trade away their players heading into free agency.
Give me the definition of the word fulcrum.
Fulcrum is like the swing point, the hinge point. Yeah, like it'll
nation of origin.
Huh? Fulcrum comes from the Latin word fulcro.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Which means to swing. Yes, I just did. The Arizona Diamondbacks are the fulcrum of this deadline with the ability to make it a lot more interesting.
Never heard that word before in my life.
Really? Never used the word
I've never heard the word before in my life.
Fulcrum? Let me give you the official.
Lauren, you ever hear that word? Be honest. Fulcrum.
Yeah, Wolf does a whole segment during football season called Fulcrum Football, where he discusses the turning point of the upcoming Cardinals game.
Yeah, the term fulcrum can refer to the point at which a lever pivots or balances, serving as the support for the lever.
Wow.
Basically, you've never heard football
I've never heard the word before in my life.
Football fulcrum with Wolf? You never heard that before? You never heard about that?
No, I'm sorry. Sorry, must not listen.
What?
No, I must not be listening when they do the segment. Like, I'm preparing for our show. I don't listen to Fulcrum Football. I don't listen to. I actually I feel stupider now that I didn't. We have to do a segment on the show, and I don't even know that.
You using the word stupider hasn't helped much either. But anyway, knowing now what fulcrum means, the Arizona Diamondbacks are the literal fulcrum of the trade deadline. They are. Like if they decide to not sell, there's a whole bunch of teams that, quite frankly, are going to be disappointed that are counting on the Diamondbacks deciding to sell. Because if they don't, the inventory of available players that can help Oh, it gets dry in a hurry. You know, it's not nearly as deep, and it's not nearly as rich, and it's not nearly as good when the team that owns 4 of the 9 best available players.
It's like going to the flea market. They have everything you want there.
Yeah, they
have everything.
And if they're good enough to decide, you know what the hell, we're going for it. We're keeping everybody.
There goes a power hitter. There goes 2 starting pitchers. There goes a 8th or 9th inning guy in Shelby Miller. There goes a corner infielder hitting over 300 in Josh Schnell. I get it. Like they are, man, there is a part of you, though, that thinks, what could the haul be for Mike Hazen if he goes selling? What could that haul be? You trade Naylor, you trade Suarez, you trade Shelby, you trade Gallen, you trade Kelly. You got 5 trades right there. What is the haul going to be? How many of those guys that they trade for are now all of a sudden going to be top 20 prospects in the Diamondbacks organization? 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to get? Like, you're going to revamp your entire... Now, let's look. The Diamondbacks minor league system became really great under Mike Hazen. But since they've had to elevate all these guys to the majors, it's not as good as it once was.
As good as it once
Over the last 2 years, they've elevated all these guys to the majors.
No, but this is, and you might disagree with this, but this is where I want to be real clear about what I want them to do at the deadline if they are sellers. I mean, restocking the farm system, it's great and it's nice and everything. But I don't want them trading for players that are too far away either. Because a year from now, they're going to get Corbin Burns back. Or a year and a half from now, they're going to get Corbin Burns back. And they're going to get Justin Martinez back. And they're still going to have Corbin Carroll. And they're still going to have Ketel Marte. Like, I don't want this organization hitting the reset button too hard and taking a bunch of players who are 19 years old and coming out of high A ball, you know? I want AA guys. I want AAA guys. I want guys who are close.
But you want to mix. Don't you want to mix?
I want far more of the other than I do of the younger.
But what if there's a guy in single A that they like, we had such an incredible, we would have drafted this kid. We had such an incredible scouting report on him and we could get him.
I mean,
take a flyer on a couple?
Okay, a couple, but for the most part, I want guys that keep this window open as long as possible. I don't want the window to close for a year or 2, even without Corbin Burns.
You want somebody that's a year away at first base, at pitcher?
I want a bunch of Zach Gallons is what I want. And not Zach Gallen now. Zach Gallen when you got him with the Miami Marlins. I want a bunch of Zach Gallons. I want a bunch of guys who are this close to being major league regulars, you know?
Sure.
Because I want a team that I think with Corbin Carroll and Ketel next year and Ryan Nelson still has a chance to be decent. I don't want to watch the Diamondbacks turn into a 51-win baseball team next year. I would hate for that to happen. I think Mike Hazen would hate for that to happen. Mike Hazen is a master at doing the buying, selling thing at the same time.
Sure.
I think if they do sell, that's what this is going to be. A lot of, we're selling, but we're also kind of buying. You know, we're kind of getting guys that we can control, guys that we have, you know what I mean? That we have arbitration control over for years to come, and guys that are close so that we can keep this thing going. I don't want a bunch of high A ball guys. I don't.
And I would definitely need to get one pitcher who I think could be somewhere in my rotation next year.
Yes.
I would want to have that because if I lose Kelly, I lose Gallen, I don't have Corbin Burns. Yes, I have Ryan Nelson and Erod, but I need another one. I need another guy.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.